The porkopolis is upon us, Moon Goons. We watched Porkchop, Porkchop 2, Porkchop 3D, and we're finishing it with Pig Girl. We watched it so you don't have to, so you know what time it is.
Horror, so bad it's scary. Splitting up is never okay. Plot, who needs it? Don't turn on the lights. Cars don't ever start, but that's alright. Running upstairs instead of out the door. Good acting, what do we need that for? Horrible horror, so bad it's scary. Enjoy the show, but not really.
What's up, Moon Goons? Welcome back to Horrible Horror, the podcast where we watch the worst of the worst in horror movies. Movies so bad they're scary. I'm your host, Marshall Hampton. With me, my co-host, my buddy, Mr. Aaron Southworth. Aaron, how are you doing on this fine summer's day?
It is a beautiful day, and I spent it inside watching Pig Girl.
Pig Girl, that's true. We did Pig Girl, the spin-off of the Porkchop series done by Razor Sharp Productions, written and directed by Eamon Hardiman. This movie, oh boy, we got a lot to say about it, but first, we got some stuff we want to cover up. First of all, I want to acknowledge a email I got from a listener named Todd Brown, who gave us sent us a request to do a movie.
Oh, really?
And I was a little hesitant to get back to him, and not because I didn't want to talk to him or anything. It's like,
No, you don't want to
I don't want fuck that guy. No, it just the movie suggested. The problem is this: it's actually a good movie. And I love the movie. It's a great movie. The movie's called Cooties. A lot of people have heard of it. It's bonkers. It's ridiculous, but it's so much fun to watch. It's really good. It's got Elijah Wood and Rainn Wilson in it, and they're basically killing kid zombies, and it's awesome. That being said, yeah, we can have a lot of fun talking about it and reviewing it, but it kind of goes against what we do. Like, it's a good movie. So I'm hesitant to say, yeah, we're going to do that one because we got so much else coming down the pipeline right now, and it's actually a really good movie.
Yeah.
So I don't want to say, I really hate to say, no, we're not going to do your suggestion because I never want to do that, but I just don't know. Like, it's a Todd Brown, if you haven't seen it, go see it. Like, it's awesome. It's a great movie.
I'm not familiar with it.
Oh, I can't believe you haven't seen it.
I'm sorry,
You like
yeah.
Elijah Wood too. I know you don't. I don't know why you haven't seen that movie.
Oh, shut up, man. Don't tell anybody about that Elijah Wood thing. Thought we had that, like, under wraps, man.
Yeah, sorry.
got
But yeah,
the Frodo
it's
fetish.
basically a bunch of kids in a school come down like a zombie virus, and the teachers have to go around killing them. It's awesome. It's a great movie.
Cool.
So I highly recommend watching it. But we may not get to that one, Todd. I'm sorry. It just, like I said, it goes against what we do here. We do
Yeah.
like shitty shit movies, and
We
that's
do the
what
worst of the worst. We occasionally we come across some gems, and when we do, we like to tell people about them.
Yeah, but normally we don't know their gems going into it. We just kind of stuff like, oh, that turned out to actually be good.
Right.
We don't pick out good ones going in most of the time. Anyway, that said, like I said, we may not do it. I don't know. But I want to at least acknowledge your suggestion and give, talk about that on air first so we can kind of clear it up. All right, moving on to Pig Girl. This movie was released March 11th of 2014, right on the heels of the rest of the series. Like I said, this is a spin-off of the Porkchop franchise, Porkchop trilogy. Like I said, it is written and directed by Eamon Hardiman again. He did like the whole rest of the series.
Yeah, and if it's like we might not go over a whole bunch of his stuff because we've done Porkchop 2,
Yeah.
Porkchop 3D. We talk about his credits and what he's done.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
So he's done a lot of other stuff. I will say though, from a writing perspective, I do think this one may be the best written of all four of them. I kind of think there are some scenes in this that I really enjoyed thoroughly. I thought the writing was like pretty solid. But that's just my opinion. Aaron's looking at me like I'm a fucking crazy person right now.
You are a crazy person.
Even though it's funny because I know they had a ton of problems. They had we'll get to that later in the odds and ends, but yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff about this movie that I got. All right, the cast, we have Missy Dawn coming back. She was in Porkchop 3D. She plays Pig Girl in this, along with a character named Rain. Again, she's also a Eamon Hardiman girl actor. She's been in a lot of his other movies as well. And then we also have Brandy Mason coming back. Now she wasn't in the Porkchop series, but she was in Don't Fuck in the Woods, if you remember that one.
Yes.
She was the opening scene girl with the great tits, fucking the tent scene.
Yeah. And
she's back in basically in the same role
Yep.
for the most
and
part.
I was like, hey, I think I recognize those.
I
tits.
recognize those titties.
Yeah.
But she's back. She, like I said, she was in Don't Fuck the Woods and then Plan 9, which is a remake of that god-awful famous Plan 9 from
The
Outer
Ed Wood,
Space movie.
yeah.
And then she's also currently filming a movie called Echo Lake Massacre, which sounds like a gem. I can't wait to see that one.
Right in our wheelhouse.
Yep.
We'll probably see her boobs in that one, too.
Probably.
Sweet. No problem here.
No. Those are beautiful, beautiful tits that belong in like the boob Smithsonian or something like that, if there is such a thing.
They're be preserved and admired.
Yes.
They belong in a museum.
And of course, we have a lot of returning regulars from the series in different, same actors but different roles. We have like Kenny Bass, Scott Greggs, Stephen Hensley, who was Mr. Robinson in the previous two.
Yep.
Elvis McComas comes back. He was Bobby in part 2 and Dave, the urban-minded white guy, in part 3. Angela Pritchett comes back. Sam Qualiana and Vincent Renfield, and then of course Eamon Hardyman himself makes an appearance in this movie as well. So with that said, let's we'll move on to the movie proper. The movie, like I said, we open on a dark night with full moon, and we join up with this couple camping out in the woods, and the guy is like, telling his girl about the legend of Porkchop.
Yep, so we're kind of going right back. But I'm kind of glad they do that. You got to establish what's going on, because if someone's just watching this for the first time, you got to touch base on Porkchop.
Well, pretty much, I mean, everybody does. I mean, you look at every like Friday the 13th movie, there's always like a scene like, oh, Jason I mean the guy who drowned the leg.
And I'm glad they did that.
Yeah, you kind of have to.
Yeah.
So she's getting upset over the fact that he brought her out here to the camp of like the place of like a known psycho slasher killer.
Has been.
But she relaxes a little bit. He's like, don't worry, he's dead. He is dead. And she's like, oh, okay.
And he's got his daddy's gun.
Yeah, and he's like, he doesn't look at his word anymore, and I got my gun. So but as soon as she does kind of relax a little bit, he hits her with the fact that, oh yeah, by the way, his daughter now is now out here looking for victims.
Yeah,
so like,
he's dead. Don't worry. But his daughter's also killing a lot of people, so
yeah,
she's still at large.
So highly distraught at this, but like I said, I have the gun. Shows her the gun, and then she's like, oh okay, and they just start making out.
Yeah. Okay, you got a gun.
Yeah.
Do me.
That's basically what happens. And then we get like this static time-lapse shot of like the dark night sky and all these clouds passing, and then we go back to the couple. They're making out in the tent, and I was like, it made me think, I don't know, I had a sign on this. It just made me think that how many hours passed during that static night shot, and they're still making out.
Did time pass, or was that just a shot they wanted to throw up there? Like, look what we can do now.
Yeah, it's like that hours would have passed, and they're still in the tent, like making out on their knees. Like that would be, my knees would be like, okay, I can't do this anymore. I'm done.
I'm done. Yeah,
my knees.
I know it's kind of a weird shot, because it's when you have a shot like that, it basically represents the passing of time.
Yeah, it's exactly what that does. It's a transition.
And I thought you were gonna wake up in the morning. That's where I thought, and then all of a sudden they're in the woods just doing it, and I'm like,
yeah, they're not even in the woods; they're in their tent.
Well, tent. You know what I mean? Yeah.
So finally, after like hours of making out, she finally just rips off her sweater, and again we see the big, beautiful titties.
Beautiful.
They fuck in the tent, and then outside we see someone sneaking around the tent, pulling up all the tent spikes or stakes, whatever you want to call them. And then that same person grabs the tent, like a corner of the tent, and starts dragging it with the people inside, which. Bullshit, by the way.
Yeah.
That would be so hard and weigh so much to try to drag a tent with two full-grown adults inside.
So let's just be generous and say it's 300 pounds.
Yeah.
The boy's a pretty big boy.
Yeah.
But, he looks like a good-sized guy.
Yeah, and she's maybe $120.
But let's be generous and just say 300 pounds.
Yeah.
So dragging 300 pounds, well, you know what? If that camp material, the camp tent material, the tent material is nice and slick, and there's some leaves in the ground, you might not have that lot of friction.
I don't know. I have a problem with this because I don't know, because remember way back when we did Mother's Day, it was something very similar. We had those hillbilly killers. They dragged off two girls tied up like in a sleeping bag behind them.
Yeah, but they drugged them for like what could have been miles.
I agree with that, but he had
they're dragging feet. A mere matter of...
You're right, but I'm just saying this. It's the same principle though. Like, and he had like one girl, like one sleeping bag in each hand, like dragging two sleeping bags behind him.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
So I don't know. So she basically drags the tent over on top of the campfire.
On top of the campfire.
Which causes the tent to erupt into flames.
Oh, you mean erupt into flames? Or do you mean, like, slightly simmer? Because this shot is horrible.
Yeah, it's not a very good shot.
Shot is so bad. You see, so basically they were drug onto the fire, and the two start screaming, ah! Close-ups of their face. They're peeling the skin off their face. I'm like, what's happening? What's going on? But then I'm kind of looking at the screen, and there's this, like, CG computer graphic craptacular fire at the bottom.
The fire's, like, in the foreground. They're behind it. So, yeah, and they're screaming and supposed to be burning alive. Again, I have problems with this. Like, one, I already covered the fact that I didn't think Pig would be strong enough to drag two people in a tent over the fire. Plus, I'm pretty sure if you drag two people in a big tent over a small fire, I'm pretty sure the fire would just be smothered.
Yeah, you just put it out.
You would just put the fire out. Like,
this isn't like a roaring campfire.
No,
you know?
it's like embers at best at this point.
It was really, really bad.
Yeah.
I mean, really bad. And this is disappointing because we've seen what they can do. I mean, they got a shoestring budget. Bless you. We've seen what they can do. We've seen the special effects they have capabilities of. And this was just, huh?
Yeah.
You know, I mean...
I agree.
This
and then
swing and a miss.
The other fact is, if you like just want to be scientific about it, I'm pretty sure that the tent wouldn't catch fire that quickly. They'd have time to get out. And then also... I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure like tents nowadays are probably like fire retardant material.
Very much so.
Very much because you're camping next to campfires. And that's what you do. So you have to be flame retardant. And this thing just goes up like fucking tiddlywinks or something.
This isn't like an old tent. This is like a new
Coleman
tent
it's
or
like
whatever.
A brand new tent. So anyway, the couple inside begin to melt from the heat pretty much instantaneously. There's no like slowly burning and roasting. It's just they're melting.
Yeah,
it's like they drank the Tenafly Vipers and they're just melting away.
I like the street trash callback there.
Like that one?
Nice.
So the guy's face is melting off, and we see the skin on the girl's hand like melt away down to the bone.
I'm so confused by that, yeah.
And again, call bullshit on that because it's just no way that happens so quickly. It's no way does that happen that fast. It's just ridiculous. But at the same time, I kind of loved it.
What?
I kind of loved it.
Oh.
It's so bad. It's so ridiculous. It made me love it.
I agree. It's so bad. It's so ridiculous. But I didn't love it. I wasn't very happy. I'm like,
So, but again, what makes it even more ridiculous is that when we're looking at her hand melting, it's just her one hand. It's just like her left hand.
Yeah.
Her entire body, face, head, hair, completely fine.
Everything's
just
fine.
Her one hand is like,
my one hand. And she's just peeling off the skin of it. Yeah. Like, what are you doing, lady?
So they die as Pig Girl stands there watching the burn. Roll the opening credits.
Snorting away.
Yeah. After the credits, we're taken to like this suburbs or like some little small town, where we meet our main character Casey, who's played by Elvis McComas.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but the music that they chose in the opening credits, in the opening scene, it's a big change from the other Porkchop movies.
The music in this one is a big change.
The other Porkchop movies are like, hey, it's rockabilly, it's kind of fun, we're gonna have some fun, watch a crappy movie. And this one, it's like ominous. It's like stock dramatic, dun 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 dun, kind of like, dramatic music with cheap violins and piano music. Yeah, it's a big switch. I guess it's hard to describe. I don't know. I'm having trouble describing it, but yeah, I was a little disappointed.
All right. Like I said, Casey's played by Elvis McComas, and we also meet his mother and the stepfather, who's played by Kenny Bass. Like I said, Kenny Bass was in part 3, as he was the main drunken bounty hunter in that movie.
Oh, awesome.
For anybody, anybody who actually saw the movie,
Yeah.
But basically, Casey's mother comes in and says, forces him to go camping with his stepfather as some form of punishment because, like, you dropped on a couch, so now I'm forcing you to go camping with your stepfather.
Yeah, that was really strange. It was a weird punishment. They just should have said it's a bonding moment.
Yeah, like, it was weird. And it's like, and you spent too much time with your sexual deviant friends, and I find it kind of funny that Casey's supposed to be college age when he like looks 30 and like on meth or something. He looks like he's coming off a bad trip or something like this. He's like,
the hairline's just holding on.
Yeah. So Roy, the stepfather, he's packing up the car when Casey's friends pull up. And this is where we see writer director Eamon Hardiman. He's playing Jason. I didn't have the name at the time, but he plays Jason. So Jason, and he wants to take Casey camping too. He's like, hey, we're gonna take him away, but he's like, oh, dude, I can't, because he wants to take him away for some drinking and fucking and partying or whatever he says. He tells him that Natalie, Rain, Henry, and some other dude are coming along as well. The sound in this scene is really bad.
I was just about to comment on this because it's obviously they shot it, but the sound quality must have been so bad they went back into the studio and dubbed over it,
and it doesn't match up.
And it doesn't quite match up. You can tell they tried.
Yeah,
they put the best foot forward, but I'm sure they're on a shoestring budget, and it was just it's pretty.
Yeah, it looks bad. It looks like one of those bad Japanese dubbed monster movies or something like that.
Right.
There's spots where doesn't match up. But Casey tells Emma that, hey, you know what, I have to go with Roy, but hey, why don't you guys come camping nearby, and I'll sneak away, and we'll hang out and whatever. So that's what happens. We cut to some driving shots. Now, I will say, these nature driving shots, I think, are some of the prettiest, most beautiful shots in this movie, because they're bright and they're vivid. They're just gorgeous, and it makes me confused with what happened here, because the driving scenes that look so good, but then we go back to the rest of the movies, and they look very crappy in comparison. They look very muted and very dulled down, and it's like they shot the driving scenes like some kind of super modern digital HD camera, and then the rest of the movie was shot like just like an old VHS camcorder. Like, I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, that shot where they're driving, it's a long shot.
It is, but the sky is so vividly
You can see the mountains.
blue.
You can see the mountains in the background. You know,
It's not even that, but there's like, yeah, and there's some shots of like an owl and some night sky later.
Yeah.
Like, there's some nature shots that stick out that are just gorgeous.
Were these stock shots that maybe he just had access to via public access?
I don't know.
Or public domain, I mean.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows? So we go to Casey and Roy driving. Roy at this point is trying to apologize and start to, for his attitude, and start bonding with Casey. Roy makes a lot of effort at this point. They're really trying to become buddy. And
he's putting the best foot forward.
He is. He's trying hard. And they tell him that, hey, we're going to go camp at Camp Wood, the place where Roy used to camp where he was a kid.
So it ties it all back.
Together. And, like, hey, we're going to stop and pick up some beer first on the way in front of his convenience shop. And now at this point I'm thinking, oh, shit, we're going to get fucking Burt Fleming here. We're going to go back to the bar or convenience store from the very first movie where he first met Burt and Teddy. I'm like, oh, we're going to wrap it all back.
That's what I thought, too.
But then we jump to Eamon or Jason and Rain talking in like a gravel parking lot in front of some woods, where we're introduced to Henry and Natalie, who are a couple. And Henry talks like a mixture, like a stone mixture of like Keanu Reeves and like Matthew McConaughey. His voice drives me nuts in this movie. I hate it. I gotta say, I hate it the way he talks.
Me too.
And we also know there's some tension between Rain and Natalie over something that happened in the past. And
they were best friends.
They used to be best friends, and Natalie got all butthurt after Rain had promised her that the two of them would go off to college together. But the last moment, Rain decided she couldn't go, and so she didn't. And now Natalie's all like butthurt about it.
I love how you say butthurt.
Butthurt. And we also know that Natalie's father has supposedly bought Camp Wood, which really doesn't play into the movie at all. They mentioned like twice, but it has nothing to do with it.
Yeah,
really.
It doesn't have anything it doesn't come back. So I thought maybe that would come back in some way, shape, or form. Nah. Yeah,
not really. Now, there's also during the scene a very, very odd camera shot that instead of like focusing, like, we had the actor's
totally out of frame.
The camera's like focusing on like
their chest,
on Eamon Hardiman's chest, and like you like the left arm of Rain, like Missy Dawn's character.
Yeah.
So you have like a chest and an arm for like a good like 20 seconds or more. It's like, what is happening here?
It was really bad. I'm like, okay, is this supposed to be intentional?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no.
Did the camera just kind of start falling asleep? Kind of dipped the camera down or something? Like, what happened here?
They just not framed the shot and said, you know what? Fuck it.
Are they trying to be like all weird and artsy, or like, let's be? It's such a weird choice.
I don't think so, because they don't need anything really like that again.
Yeah, it doesn't work. It's just weird. So we go back to Roy and Casey at the gas station. I'm like, okay, here we go. We're going to see Burt Fleming. Nope, Roy just comes out with the six packs, and they get right back in the car and off they go. And I gotta say, I was bamboozled and hooked, like just flabbergasted we didn't get a Burt Fleming cameo here, or at least a reference. Because I would have thought for sure we would have, because he's been in every other movie But this one, he's not. Bert Fleming's character does not make any appearance or even mention him at all in this movie.
No,
which,
you're right.
Take that for good or bad, depending on how you feel about the character. But it's just so when you have such a become such a staple or such a you've hammered it home in each of the each movies, and then you don't have him. It's like, wait, what happened? Like what?
It's funny because you've heard me talk about Bert Fleming's character before.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes I love him, sometimes I hate him.
Most
of the time he just goes too far. I like what he says, but sometimes he goes too far. But I agree. I was totally bummed that there was no Bert Fleming.
Yeah.
I was like looking forward to it, at least part of it.
A Bert Fleming and a Teddy. There's always been a Bert Fleming and a Teddy in these movies, and there is not. Like it's really weird. Like why all of a sudden did they not do that?
No, and this is not a Porkchop movie necessarily. This is Pig Girl.
But it's the same. Same universe.
And they reference Yeah, exactly. They reference Porkchop. Where's Bert Fleming?
Yeah, like exactly. Damn it, Eamon, where was Bert? Anyway, all right. So we go back to Eamon and Rain, and they let this character named Sam out of the trunk. Now, Sam's played by Sam Qualiana. He's been in the last 3 movies as well. I do say again, I like Jason in this movie. I like the way Eamon delivers the lines and portrays Jason. He's probably my favorite character in this movie. Just a side note there.
He's like Bert Fleming light.
He kind of is, yeah, but not, yeah, very, very dialed back though, toned down.
Yeah, but they do open up that trunk. They open up the trunk, and Sam's in there with the beer. And he starts saying something to Rain, the character Rain. She's like, "What's going on here?" And he goes, "Well, why don't you just go ahead and grab the beer and stop being a cunt?"
Yeah,
and
stop being a cunt.
And it's just the way he delivered it.
I know. Eamon is probably, like I said, he's probably the best for a guy who's not really an actor. To me, he did the best in this movie. Like he delivered his lines.
It made me laugh out loud. That part. Yeah,
I had a lot of points. Like
However, sometimes it's hard to understand what the fuck he's saying.
Yeah, he does kind of at times have a tendency to kind of mumble a little bit. It makes it hard. But like, otherwise, I think he's on point. I love the character of Jason in this movie.
If you're gonna be doing that, I guess it's a West Virginian thing. The way they speak, that
Maybe.
cadence, the way you do it. I mean, if you're making a movie, Bert does it the same. It's the same type of speech pattern, the way they speak. Bert Fleming and this Jason character.
Yeah, just Bert's just like on crack though.
But he's loud and you can hear everything he's saying. Whereas Jason, the character Jason, he tends to mumble sometimes. It's hard to understand what he's saying.
Although if you look back, Jason is very similar to basically to the Teddy from the very first movie. I mean, they're almost like interchangeable.
Well, he's quiet. Teddy was very quiet.
Yeah, and played by the same character, delivered lines the same way. Anyway, so now the group is hiking through Campwood, and they pass the old cabin, which we've seen in the previous movies, exact same location. And Natalie mentions that her father, even though he bought the place, couldn't afford to rehab the cabins, but hey, at least the paths are clear. So that's the last time we mentioned that it ever comes up. So again, there's really no point to that, why you even have that there. So Sam's talking to Rain, tells that he has a cousin that came out here before. And she's like, "Oh, well, how did your cousin like it?" And Sam replies by saying, "We're still waiting to find out. He hasn't come back." So again, another maybe obviously linked to some of the previous movies.
Porkchop movies.
So connection. Now I did make me stop and think of which character he could have been the cousin, and my guess is that it would be maybe Simon from number 2. But there are some gaps in that logic of why it would be there. So it could be a wrong guess, but I don't know. That's my unless it's something from somebody.
I've got nothing.
So of course we get the cliche shot of the killer watching them from inside the cabin as they go, which is almost a shot for shot reshoot or from the very first movie, because we see Porkchop in the cabin watching the group go by.
Right.
Oh, they had lawn darts in a bucket.
Yeah. At least this group has more beer.
Yeah, they have much more. So we go back to Roy and Casey. They arrive at Campwood, unload the car. They start off on their hike to the campground. Now, I noticed that Roy has this large, like, camping, like, proper backpack with, proper gear. But the backpack's empty. It's completely flat. So he has the backpack, but there's nothing in it.
This is Marshall's biggest pet peeve is when it's like the logistics of moving equipment to the location and how they don't show it in the film. And several movies that we reviewed, they're just like driving in a little Jeep with nothing with them, and then all of a sudden the next scene is like a massive tent, like campsite set up, and you're like, how do they do this? It doesn't make sense. And dude,
I know you're totally right, but God, it gets me every time.
It does. It drives you nuts.
Like, how hard would it be just to show somebody holding a tent? Like, he's got a backpack that's completely empty and like one was like like fold up fabric chairs in a sling pouch over his shoulder, and then fucking Casey has a book bag over on his back.
Yeah,
that's
got, like,
all
a
they
book
have. But
bag.
yet they show up like tents and beers and like all this shit, but they don't.
Drives them nuts.
Drives me nuts. So anyway, they too pass the old cabins, and Roy shows him the cabin that he used to stay in as a kid. And he's trying very hard to bond with Casey.
He's being nostalgic, trying to bond.
And Casey just ain't having it. He don't give a shit.
He's being a dick.
He is being, at this point, Casey is being a dick.
Yeah.
Like there's no need for it. Because at the first, when you first meet Roy, you kind of say like, okay, maybe there's like Roy's this, asshole stepfather. But Roy's like, hey, you know what? I apologize. I was wrong.
He's trying.
And he's trying. And Casey's like, fuck you, man. Fuck you, man.
I think Roy's the best actor in this movie. The
He
guy
might
who
be.
plays
Kenny
Roy.
Bass?
Yeah, I think he does the best. I have to tip my hat. I think he's the one who has I think he was the best actor.
All right. So now we get some more really pretty nature shots as more time passes, and we rejoin Roy and Casey sitting in front of a small campfire. They talk over some beer before Roy gets off to go take a piss in the woods. As soon as he walks away, Casey spikes Roy's beer with some kind of pills. He starts pouring pills in his beer.
Could be sleeping medication, could be opiate medication.
Who knows?
Something that's going to knock him out.
Yeah,
basically.
Roy comes back, drinks the beer, and then just basically immediately falls asleep.
He's like, I'm tired. I'm going to bed.
Yeah. Which again, instantaneously falls asleep from no. Fuck it. Let's move on. And Casey takes off. He stops to piss in the woods and just so happens to run right into Jason, who's also pissing.
So yeah, this is where there's again the logistics of this.
Yeah.
So Roy and Casey's campsite is right next to the group's campsite.
Sort of. It's in the same area.
Close enough that you
Yeah.
can find it in pitch black.
Yeah.
Or run in the right direction and just happen to run into your piss pal. So
Yeah, it's a little far fetched. Okay, so the two of them, they have a little exchange, which it's fine. They head back to Jason's camp, to the party camp, we'll call it.
yeah, camp party.
And just basically cue drinking, party, and montage, which goes on a long time. And it's even done like sped up. They speed up the footage, so it's like all fast moving.
Yeah,
but it still goes on for too long.
And the music they use is from National Lampoon's European Vacation. It's by Plastic. Oh God, what's the name of the band? I looked it up because I like this song a lot. It's actually a catchy. It's
Is it because there's
Plastic Bertrand? Yeah, it's Plastic Bertrand. It's the name of the group that does it, and it's like.
Because in the credits, it's not. There's no that song. There's nothing listed in the credits under.
I know it's not, and because I was very curious. I was like, do they have the rights to that song? Because that's a pretty. I've listened to that song for years. It's a pretty famous. Like for me, I like the song a lot. It's catchy. It's French. It's. I think the name of the song is "Please Forgive Me," "Caplan pour moi," which means "This Life for Me." And it's a catchy song.
Yeah,
it's a really catchy song, and it was definitely used in National Lampoon's European Vacation.
Okay. I did notice, of course, I noticed the beer. They were drinking some Bud Light, so good old St. Louis brew, and then of course some Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Good old St. Louis brews.
Yeah.
Come on, I get it. Bud Light, Anheuser-Busch, but man, they got bought by InBev.
I know. Fuck,
bastards.
shut up. We don't have to bring that up.
St. Louis politics.
It's still St. Louis born and brewed.
That's true.
You can't take that away.
That's true.
Anyway, so however, like I said, this scene goes on way too long. I did get kicked out of the fact that Sam is wearing a Snow Shark T-shirt, which is an actual movie that the actor Sam Qualiana did. He's in that movie.
Yeah. So I like that.
Yeah. After the montage, Sam is talking to Casey about how to get a girl. It's like, how do you do it? Blah blah blah. And then it's a short scene. He goes over to talk to Rain, who's drunk off her ass. And pretty much instantaneously, the drunk Rain just takes him out into the woods. The fuck?
Yeah, it was kind of fun delivery. He's just like, "Hi, how you doing? You want to go in the woods?" And I don't know. And she goes, "Fuck." And all right, let's go. And he's like, "Okay." So, good for her. What a good girl.
What a good girl. Back at the camp at the fire, the rest are sitting around talking. Natalie wants to know why Casey, who had the highest GPA of all of them, didn't go to college or dropped out or whatever bullshit he did. Henry then also mentions something about a robot that Casey made. Casey corrects him saying it was an animatronic, which may begin, because for those of you who have listened to our past episodes...
Is this a reference to Elron?
Yeah, is this a reference to Elron the robot from earlier movies? If so, I'm fucking confused, because in the past movies, it was well established that the character Richie was the one who made Elron, not Casey, unless Casey worked with Richie, but they don't seem like the type that would be to, correspond or hang out together.
And also, Porkchop, the original one, I believe, was set in the 80s.
Yeah, which is a big time gap between Porkchop 1 and Porkchop 3D, because it was, I think, supposed to be the 80s, and where we saw Richie did. So that means, 30 years have gone by between Porkchop 1 and so Richie was in that wheelchair with a dart in his head for 30 years.
So this is something else I wanted to comment on towards the end, was also Roy used to go to Camp Wood. Did he come across Porkchop in any way, shape, or form? Because he's been going there for 30 years around the same time that Porkchop 1 would have been.
That's a great point. What is happening to the timelines of these movies? There's some convoluted, weird shit going on here.
There's some misses, but I kind of like it.
So this conversation never really goes anywhere, and everyone splits off into two groups. Casey and Jason go one way, while Henry and Natalie, they go off on another. We cut to Sam fucking Rain from behind up against a tree, and Rain looks so far beyond disinterested, while Sam is having the time of his life. He's having a ball.
He's going to town.
Yeah. After the sex, Rain lights up a weed pipe. She starts, lights up a pipe, which upsets Sam. Because weed's illegal.
He's a man of moral upstanding.
Yeah.
He's okay with fucking in the woods.
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
But weed?
Premarital, that's because weed's illegal. Premarital sex is not illegal.
Oh, yes, it's laws.
So Sam calls her the worst girlfriend he's ever had, even though they just banged one time. And Rain quickly shuts that shit down.
She does.
Saying that we are not in a relationship, and she's really cold about it, too. She's like, no, fuck you, dude. Sam leaves to go pee, and Rain
laughs as he walks away.
But she kind of chuckles, and then just kind of falls asleep up against a tree. She just kind of passes out. So now we cut back to Natalie and Henry. They're making out up against another tree. He takes off their top. We get some titties. They go to the ground, and he starts eating her out. He's going down on her. Then we go back to Sam pissing and complaining about how he just fucked the girl of his dreams, and she turns out to be this awful stoner. During his rant, we see Pig Girl sneaking up behind him in the woods. He finishes his piss, and he turns around, and right as he turns around, he gets a machete buried right into his face and his head.
But it's so fast.
It's so fast. If you blink, you'll miss it.
It literally, and it's funny, because when you see him come down and hits him, there's a weet sound, and then it's off screen.
Yeah.
So that's about as fast as it's on. It's like, weet. It's like maybe a second long.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm like, what did it... I guess he's dead.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
I'm not sure.
Can't put it anywhere. That's pinpoint. So the next morning, Roy wakes up, finds a pill bottle on top of his beer, and he's all pissed off at Casey.
He realized he was drugged. Yeah.
So he goes off in search of Casey.
And it's kind of funny because when you stomp into the woods, he's like, when I find him, I'm going to kick his ass. And he keeps on cruising.
Well, at the other camp, the others realized that Sam never came back last night after he went to go piss. So they all decided to go off for a search for Sam, while Henry is nominated to stay behind just in case Sam comes back to the camp. Now, why does Henry get nominated to stay behind?
That's a good question.
Well, it turns out, to answer your question, it turns out that the guy who sounds like an eternally stoned Keanu Reeves is supposedly pre-fucking med, and he can help Sam with any injuries he may have suffered throughout the night. If this guy's pre-med, this must be the worst medical school ever, because he's a fucking moron.
He does say, he's like, well, I haven't learned anything yet, so there is that defense.
He does say that, but still, to get accepted, I don't know. This guy's a goddamn moron.
I mean, you could be a pre-med, and I could be a freshman in any college and say I'm pre-med.
Yeah,
that's the thing about pre-med, which is just like, I'm pre-med. It's like, fuck you. I'm pre-CEO of an awesome company. I haven't know what it is yet, so fuck you. Saying pre-med is so stupid.
So Rain and Natalie, they head off together, and the next several shots are of the girls walking around. They're calling out for Sam, while some really relaxing classical music kind of plays in the background, which is really odd.
That's what I'm saying. The tone of this movie doesn't fit any of the previous tones. You know, the musical numbers that they choose, the way the kills are done, which we'll get into. I mean, it's really serene
it's really pretty music. It's like, but it's not, which I guess is fine because it's just a chill scene of them talking. So, but it's not building up tension, or it's just an odd choice for a horror movie. But so basically, they end up talking and they end up burying the hatchet, between the two. So they make up
Rain
whatever.
saying, the reason I didn't go to college with you is because I didn't have any money.
Yeah, my family's poor. We couldn't afford it.
And like, okay, done. We're besties.
Yeah, besties again. So, they're walking, talking, and Natalie happens to get a few steps out in front of Rain. Like there's a little bit of a gap between the two, not much.
Yeah.
But Natalie turns around to say something to Rain, and right as she turns around, she sees Rain gets impaled through the chest with a machete from out of fucking nowhere.
Out of fucking nowhere. You don't even see the impalement. She just turns around.
And there's a machete.
And then the next scene is Rain with a machete through the back of, like, it's coming out of her chest.
It's coming out between her tits.
Yeah, and she's going, ah, ah.
As long as that, yeah, it's almost comical.
Like, she dies forever.
Yeah, it does. Her destiny takes a long time.
She's like, this is my last time on screen for a while. I'm not going down yet.
So Natalie takes off running and screaming while we see Pig Girl go after her, and now we're treated to a choppy GoPro chase scene that hurts both my eyes and my stomach to watch. It's rough, but I mean, I get it. You experiment with the GoPros.
First person essence.
Yeah, it's weird. Very I guess like hardcore Henry.
Yeah,
that movie.
There you go.
Because you see like Pig Girl's arms like really oddly swayed. It's not natural at all.
It's the most awkward running. It's like I wish I could see like just a shot of Pig Girl running then. Like, just arms wiggling around in front of her.
So Natalie comes to like a cliff edge and seeing no other choice, she leaps off the cliff into the water below. But fucking A. But instead of swimming towards the shore to get away, she decides I'm just going to float here and maybe tread water for a while.
It's kind of it's like probably one of the more dramatic scenes in the movie. She runs up to the edge and she sees the water below. She's like, ah, crap. She realizes she has to get a little bit of a running start. So she has to run back towards Pig Girl. So, and they show that. It's like, what do you do? And then she turns and books it, jumps off the edge, splashes into the water. She's safe.
Yeah.
And then
She just treads water. She just floats around.
Just hanging out.
But of course, Pig Girl didn't magically rises up and emerges from underneath the water behind her.
We just saw her.
Yeah.
We just saw her looking over the cliff face like, damn, she got away.
Yeah.
Well, I'll just teleport under the water and swim on up and get her. Use my magical pig powers.
I'm going to bamf myself right over there. And so she grabs Natalie and drowns her. Natalie's dead. That's it. Back at the camp, Henry hears a loud pig squeal, and he's like, fuck this, man. And
I think he goes, fuck, what the fuck? Fuck me, fuck this, fuck.
You know what? It's funny you said, because, you know what? I actually happened to have recorded this scene because it's so goddamn awful, and it's ridiculous. So you guys get a treat of this whole Henry stupid death scene. So enjoy this crap.
What the fuck? Oh, fuck, man. I'm fucked. It's fucking bullshit. Worst idea fucking ever, man.
Yeah, so that's Henry's ridiculous death scene. Now,
what the fuck? Whoa, fuck this. I'm fucked. Fucking fuck.
Unfortunately, the pig squeal, you didn't hear that. That I couldn't get that in the club apparently. But yeah, the pig squeal, and then you hear if you listen carefully, that that's him. He gets shot in the back with an arrow. Now, if you listen to the clip, you clearly hear three arrows strike him in the back.
Boom.
But yet when we actually see him trying to run away, there's only one arrow sticking out of his back. And I use the word sticking out of his back very loosely because it's barely dangling.
It's falling out.
It's like
it's
barely
falling out.
It's like they try to duct tape the tip to his back and just kind of the weight of the arrow like pulled it down. So it's just like it's like a limp noodle hanging off his back. Right. It's so
this is not going very deep.
It is not good. Yeah. Like it's,
dude.
It's so.
I feel like I could do that forever.
So, sometimes it's hard to tell if he's like getting off or just what, just by the sound, the audio. There's like, anyway, so we cut back to Roy, who's walking through the woods. He trips and he lands just inches away from Sam's dead body.
Now, it's funny when they cut to Roy because they use the exact same shot they had before. When he's walking through the woods, he pulls aside a branch. He goes, when I find that kid, I'm going to kick his ass. He said that it's the same exact scene.
Is it? I missed that part.
They use that same clip over twice. And then they take the next scene and he falls forward and he finds Sam's dead body.
Yeah, and Miss J's still sticking out of his head and all that. We jump to Casey's mom now at home watching TV when a documentary comes on about Porkchop, and the host says that hundreds of teenagers have been killed by Porkchop. And I'm like, really? Hundreds? Did I miss like 70 kills or something? Because, I mean, the first movie had like maybe 5 kills, if I remember. And then the second one had maybe 10, so that's at 15. And then, yeah, the 3D had 22. We were around 22. So that puts us at like 35 kills, give or take a few. So where the fuck did the extra like 70 come from?
Right.
Where did that happen? I also find it highly odd that the mom reacts like she's never heard of Porkchop before or Camp Wood, but yet everyone else seems to know about the story of Porkchop. He's a local legend. Nothing about this makes sense in any way.
And yeah, that's a great point because Roy even talks about his great memories at Camp Wood.
Yeah.
He had such a great time. We're going to go back there. And you think, especially with all the exposure, and whenever we go back on number 2, and especially number 3,
oh, yeah,
they talk quite a bit about the mystery, the lore, the mystique of Porkchop.
Yeah.
And they even, wouldn't he know that
everybody should know? I mean, especially like, they said like Bert Fleming, the character was like, he became famous for killing Porkchop. And then they found out, oh, he didn't kill Porkchop. And then Porkchop was literally dead because they cut his head off in the third movie. And so once again, everybody knew Porkchop was dead. But these people act like they've never heard of Porkchop, which is bullshit. Because, again, like, if he was...
can't be a big place.
Yeah, it's a small town. So, like, everybody would have heard about these kids getting killed. And at this point, this would have been a national story. If this would be national headlines all across the country. People would have heard about this Porkchop character. But they're like, oh my God, Camp Wood, what, huh? Again, the continuity between the previous movies and this movie gets all sorts of fucked up in this one. It really gets weird, like, why nothing seems to... Something's following something. Don't, like, even the opening scene, like, that guy's like, oh yeah, Porkchop was in these woods, but he's dead now. And now we're like, who's Porkchop? What's this? I've never heard of such a thing. Plus, I don't know. They don't even... He's dead now. They don't even talk about this. Like, Porkchop, is... clearly has been dead. That's supposed to be common news, but people act like they don't
People know he's dead.
Yeah. Anyway, so it's like whether or not people know about Porkchop it's constantly changing, like I said. So plus another thing we think about is what about the survivors from the other movies? Like we had Heather who survived both 2 and 3. She would have been spreading the word. We had Teddy, Bert's nephew, survive number 3. You also have Bert fucking Fleming around somewhere.
World famous, yeah.
Where are these guys talking about spraying, they'd be talking, oh yeah, we cut off Porkchop's head. He's fucking dead or he's real. Again, all this goes out the window here. It's really odd and it's kind of sad. Like they didn't really, kind of make anything congeal or kind of come together a little bit better here. So anyway, we go back to Roy in the woods. He now bumps into Henry, who basically just falls down dead at Roy's feet with one arrow barely in his back.
Limply hanging out of his back.
Yeah. Now we jump back to Jason and Casey. They're crossing some bridge, this long rope bridge. And Roy spots him from a distance. He's like, oh my God, there they are. He rushes off to get him. And so the two guys, they're just strolling along. They're talking. Casey's trying to collect the money from a bet they made about Sam banging Rain earlier in the movie. And again, this scene is just Jason or Eamon kind of at his best. It's a pretty solid scene. There's some witty exchanges here. I didn't mind it too much. I thought it was good.
I didn't mind it, but it just felt a little long.
I can see that a little long, but it's solid. It's fine. Nothing wrong with it. Like I was like, this may be the best scene between those two characters, just their interaction together in the whole movie.
Yeah.
So you have that. Once they reach the other side, Roy just kind of leaps fucking out from nowhere, like frantically, like
Roy's a big guy.
Yeah.
Roy's a pretty fat dude, but he can move pretty well.
yeah. And he's like, dude, your friends are dead. Like, and I was like, we gotta get out of here. And Casey's like, whoa, I want to go. He's like, no, I'm gonna go check this out, Roy. And Jason's like, fuck that, I'm getting the hell out of here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see if I can get some cell phone service, and I'm gonna call for help. I'm getting the fuck out of here. So Jason, he goes off by himself. So Roy is like, no, Casey, we gotta go. Like, we're gonna go. They head off to the car. Like, we'll pick up Roy on the way back, or as we leave, or we'll get the car first, and they'll pick up Jason later. So we go back to Jason running through the woods. He stops to rest up against a tree, which we all know now is never a good idea in any horror movie.
Never a good idea.
Never rest up
Just
against a tree.
keep moving.
Just keep moving.
Just keep
Even if
moving.
you just have to walk, just keep moving. And on cue, Pig Girl pops up from behind the tree, grabs him, tosses him to the ground. Now, what happens next is fucking bonkers. It's fucking insane.
It's weird.
Pig Girl squats over Jason's face, and I shit you not, I think she pisses on him while squealing and snorting in glee. At least I think that's what happens. If it's not that, it's just her rubbing her vag in his face. Either way, he dies from this.
Did he die?
He dies from this.
Did he die?
He dies.
Okay, because I can't tell what's happening.
He
At
goes
first,
fucking cross-eyed and he dies.
my thought was that he was getting fucked, like he was getting ridden, but she was a little too high on his chest.
It's supposed to be like she's smothering his face with her vag or something, or peeing
yeah,
on
but I
him.
didn't know what was going on. But then they had that above shot where they show, I guess it's the POV of Jason.
Yeah.
Laying down, and it looks like, her hands are in his chest and she's like bouncing up and down. And I thought she's
Raping him.
raping Jason.
It's such a weird thing. Like,
But it's like you just can't tell.
yeah, so I mean, it would be she has like toxic, poisonous piss that kills you instantaneously, or that her pussy is so skanky and that the sheer smell of it kills Jason. It's one of those two things because he's dead.
I think she's raping him. I think it was just a poorly executed rape.
But how did she get his pants off him so fast then?
I'm saying I just think it's poorly executed. I just don't think it was well done. And I don't know. I don't know, man. We'll have to get to the bottom of this.
You will. So Roy and Casey reach the car. Roy tries to call the cops, but of course, no signal. But it doesn't matter because they just get in the car and they drive away.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. He's like looking at his phone, he's like, damn it, no signal. Fuck it.
Fuck it. Get in the car. Car starts. They drive away. Roll credits.
Shit, yeah. All right.
However, now, after the first few credits go by, we are treated to like the longest post-credit scene in movie history,
Yeah.
I think. I shit you not, this is like a mini movie and stuff. It's like 20 minutes long of post-credit sequence here. So, here we go.
This is the sequel.
Movie 2,
Yeah,
I guess.
basically.
Roy's at home talking to the mother about calling the cops, and for some stupid-ass reason, they're like, no, we'll call the cops later.
We can let him rest.
We're
a
gonna
little
let
bit.
him rest a
We'll call the
bit.
cops later.
Even though all of his friends have maybe just been brutally slaughtered, we'll let that go by. It's okay. We got time. We see Casey taking a shower, and in the meantime, Pig Girl just shows up to kill his family. Like, how does she even know where they live? Like, how does she catch up with them in a car on foot? Like, this makes zero sense.
None.
So, basically, what happens is the mother gets killed by getting, like, a powered pruning saw.
Hedge clippers.
Thank you, hedge clippers.
Yeah, they're like power hedge clippers.
Yeah,
Electric hedge clippers. My parents have. I used to trim.
Yeah, we
use
have
those
some
all
on
the
our
time.
shed right now.
I used to trim my parents' bushes all the time.
And she gets that through the chest or stomach or abdomen area. Roy gets killed while on the phone. Don't even know if he's calling the cops or just like calling a buddy. He's just on the phone. He's just really casual.
You would not believe the night I had today.
Yeah, and
I need to have a drink. What? Bang.
Piggo just walks up behind him, shoots him in the head.
With a gun.
Where'd the gun come from?
I don't know.
Where'd you get a gun?
I don't know.
Unless that's supposed to be the gun from the killers in the opening, the guy who they burnt. That's the
could
only
be.
other gun in the movie.
Could be.
But again, where'd she pull it out from? Like, it's so weird. Now, I kind of have a problem with this part because this is like immediately, Roy gets killed right after the mom, and Roy's on the phone, which means like, there's no way, this is a small house. There's no way, like, he didn't hear, like, the fucking hedge clippers going, and the mom's screaming out in pain.
She's dragging herself around on the floor.
Yeah, and he's just like showing on the phone, like, yeah, what's up, guys? You know, just another day, another day, another dollar. Like, who knows? Like, and he's not like there's no urgency to like, holy shit, or
what's happening?
Or I'll be right there. Oh my god, it's fucking ridiculous. It bothers me. Like, he would be more.
Yeah, hedge clippers are loud.
Yeah,
those like gas or
there's no urgency to him. It's like there's nothing there. It's just like he has nothing at all is going on. But anyway, Casey gets out of the shower, enters the living room, where he finds his mom on the couch with her intestines hanging out of her. She's somehow still alive and manages she's like, Casey, run, and then she dies. And Pig Girl pops out. Casey runs like a fucking idiot into like he runs into the fucking bathroom. Where there's no escape, closes the door behind him. But I don't understand. Again, I don't understand why any fucking idiot person would put themselves in such a vulnerable position. Not only does he lock himself in the bathtub or bathroom with no escape, he gets into the bathtub and like just
pulls the shower
curtain. Like, oh, she won't find me here, even though she clearly saw me just run in here. Pig Girl breaks open the door, instantly pulls back the shower curtain, and just kills Casey with the hedge clippers.
Yeah, it kind of like fades to black.
Yeah, fades to black, and you hear him scream. So now we cut to the host of the documentary again, who's played by Stephen Hensley, who was Mr. Robinson in the last two movies. He's interviewing like just random people about Porkchop and his victims. And the first one is Angela Pritchett wearing a really crappy wig. But she was in Porkchop 2 and 3.
Is she wearing a wig or she just get like a bad dye job?
No, it's a really shitty wig.
Okay.
So these interview segments are kind of hit or miss. Some of them are kind of funny and others not so much.
Yeah.
But Stephen Hensley, I will say, who plays the alcoholic and horny TV host, I will say he does shine over all these because it's not so much him that falls flat because he's really actually pretty entertaining.
Yeah.
He may be one of the best parts of this movie. It's the end of the movie. But some of them go on a little too long. Mm-hmm. Eventually, Hensley and his cameraman end up at a bar where they pick up two townie girls, and I'm really shortening this down.
Yeah, I mean it's hard to. You can't really talk, or else you're just going to talk about the whole scene.
Yeah,
because it's not long enough to really break down, and you just got to tell exactly.
And I'm not going to quote everything Stephen Hensley says, even though he has some good lines. They're kind of funny.
Lines,
but I'm just
townie pussy or local pussy,
local townie pussy, which is pretty good.
Is pretty funny.
Yeah. So anyway, they end up going back to the girls' place, and Hensley manages to get one of the girls to take him up to the bedroom for some sweet banging.
And these girls are gothy too.
Oh, they're goth to the bone.
Oh my god, they're gonna put a fucking spell on you. They're gonna hex you.
They're super goth. They're not like they're unattractive. They're cute girls, but man, they are super goth.
Goth.
Anyway, so Hensley and this one girl go upstairs to bang, leaving the cameraman and the other girl B, we'll call her, in the living room together. Now, girl B wants to show the cameraman her favorite room, which just happens to be the basement for some stupid-ass reason.
So weird.
And so they go down to the basement, and in the basement, the girl says, "Isn't it creepy?" I'm like, no, it's just a fucking cluttered basement.
It's just a basement.
It's just storage boxes, and it's just people storing their shit down there.
Yeah.
There's nothing creepy about it.
No.
It's well lit.
Yeah. It's not even poorly lit.
No. So
someone's doing laundry next to him, like, hi.
Yeah. And the girl tells him that Porkchop isn't dead exactly. And we cut back to Hensley and girl A. They're about to have sex when Pig Girl again bursts through the bedroom door.
For some reason, Pig Girl has a beef with this documentary maker.
Yeah, exactly. They've never crossed paths. They may not even be in the same town or like same street. Like, we don't even know where the fuck. How she show up here is beyond. It's beyond fathomable. It's just, what the fuck. So anyway, she kills Hensley, the reporter, by slitting his throat with a machete, and then just strangles girl A.
Yeah.
We jump back to the basement where girl B tells the cameraman that Porkchop's daughter is still alive and that he taught her everything he knows. And on that cue, the two of them look over and see Meg in her Porky Pig mask coming down the stairs with a chainsaw.
Yeah, so we cut back basically to number 2.
Number 2 now. And we hear the cameraman and girl B, they scream, and we cut away to Pig Girl and Meg exiting the house with a chainsaw and machetes in hand. They black out.
Dramatic walk,
across
slow
the
motion
street, yeah.
walk
Where
across
Pig Girl now has-
across a suburban street
in broad daylight.
Broad daylight.
Yeah, so blackout, roll the rest of the credits. Now, holy shit, am I going to rant here? Where the fuck did Meg come from? Because first of all, how the hell is she still even alive?
We saw her get shot in the fucking head.
She got stabbed in the chest and then shot in the head
by the FBI.
in Porkchop 3D. So I am so far beyond confused as to what the shit is happening in this movie and this timeline now. Like, I'm fine with Pig Girl being alive. We saw that at the end of the credits.
Yeah.
That's good. But Meg was shot in the fucking face, basically. And now she's back welding a chainsaw. Like, it makes zero fucking sense, people.
Ugh.
None whatsoever. I don't get it.
Do they even give a fuck?
At this point, they probably don't.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe just, they're probably just like, you know what, we're just going to do what we want to do, and we're just going to have fun with it, so whatever. And you know what? That's fine, but it's still, what the shit?
It was at the end of the movie where it was almost like a little vignette.
Yeah.
It was almost like a short.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say, maybe it's some weird timeline where this actually takes place between the events of 2 and 3, but that wouldn't make sense.
No,
it wouldn't make sense. So, anyway, let's move on to our favorite kills.
There can be only one. Favorite kill?
All right. Not a whole lot in this movie, but, there's kills nonetheless. So, Aaron, what do you got this week for your favorite
compared to what they had their last film, or Porkchop 3D, I mean, there was so much to choose
22.
from.
Yeah, this was a big letdown. Like, I was stunned by that when I watched. Like, you went from so many kills, and some were pretty decent. In fact, this one, they just, like, hardly any, and they were so quick.
Pretty weak.
Yeah, it was like, wow. It's like, big change.
Pretty weak sauce.
But,
yeah, I mean, we had some pretty lame deaths, like the drowning death.
Yeah.
That was pretty fucking lame.
Yep.
The choking death at the end of
Girl
that
A.
was pretty lame. Three off-screen scream deaths.
Yeah.
We had a limp arrow hanging out the back.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we got some pretty weak sauce. So I'm going to go with, actually, the one that I thought was most visceral and kind of violent, actually, was Pig Girl using a gun and shooting Roy in the back of the head because the blood splattered all over the screen.
All the camera,
and you see her, like, holding the gun and boom, it was pop, and that one actually was my favorite.
Okay. I'm you're gonna hate me for I'm going with the ridiculously stupid campfire burning tent kills.
Those are so bad.
I know, but
Those are so bad.
But I'm like, I give them credit. They're low budget. We'd be like, it's bad, but they tried.
Ugh.
I still like it was. All the other kills, like it was at least the most somewhat creative, and the one you actually saw the most. Everything else was so damn quick and fast. Like,
and if even wasn't quick, it was bad.
Yeah. So I was like, I don't know. I'm going with the tent, 2 people. And it's a 2-for-1. We get 2 people burned.
Yeah, twofer.
So I don't know. There's that. Like I said, not much this week, but there it is. We got it out of the way. All right, moving on to odds and ends.
Not only did they watch these films, they researched them too. Ugh, what is wrong with these guys?
All right, ratings. IMDb gives it a 6.9 out of 10.
Out of how many people voted for it?
I don't know. I didn't have that, but it's almost a
Jesus.
7 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes, no surprise, nothing on the site, not at
Right.
all. Amazon. Now this is where I need to make a correction and I guess explanation of what happened last week. Last week I was a little messed up.
Yep.
And I said Porkchop 3D for the first time had a 5 out of 5. I was wrong because I had done the research note. I started doing my notes for this movie before we recorded, and I got confused. This one is the one that has the historic first.
Oh.
Amazon 5 out of 5 on Amazon.com.
Oh, really?
Porkchop or Pig Girl, perfect 5 out of 5.
Fuck.
Yeah. Plot keywords, there were none. I'm a little disappointed in that. I was hoping there would be some. But trivia now. I do have a decent amount of trivia about this because there's a commentary track on this one as well, which I watched, and I got a lot of this came from there.
Mm-hmm.
Some of it didn't, but a lot of it did. First things first, if you really want to, again, show off your luscious, checkbook, bank account, you can buy the Blu-ray of this on Amazon for a whopping $40, or you can go to the Razor Sharp Productions website and get it for like $10. Okay, now the girl who was supposed to play Rain, dropped out at the last minute, and Missy Dawn took over. So
that's why she's playing two roles.
That's why she's playing two roles. The opening scene with the campfire and the two in the tent was not in the original script. It was added much, much later. According to Eamon Harmon, he tells all of his male actors who have a sex scene in this movie that they have to go jerk off before they film the scene as a way to avoid getting an erection during filming.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, that's from him. This is the stuff from the commentary now. Eamon himself was not supposed to be in the movie at all. The role of Jason was originally supposed to be a female character, a girlfriend character that the parents did not approve of. And they actually went through several different girls, but all of them ended having to back out or got fired at the last minute. So Eamon stepped in. They changed the role from a girl to a boy, thus having to rewrite almost the entire movie on the fly because of that.
Wow.
Kenny Bass, who we talked about, is a real-life reporter for a local TV news station in Charleston, West Virginia, and also does stage plays, I believe.
That's probably why he's one of the better actors.
Yep. Kenny Bass and Elvis McComas both suffered minor injuries during the campfire scene where they're at the campfire because the campfire exploded from excess of heat. A log popped and they got singed and burned from a log popping in their face. During the filming of one of the night scenes, the cast and crew were stalked and circled by a pack of coyotes.
Cool.
Yeah. During the scene in the woods where Casey and Jason are both pissing, that was originally meant to be a sex scene between Casey and his girlfriend. The cast was actually drunk during the party scene, that night party scene with the music we were talking about. And the pipe that Rain uses to smoke the weed out of was actually just a spark plug they had on hand.
Well, if you're in the dark, it may
it
look like
same size. During the sex scene between Natalie and Henry, the actors Allie and Scott were still drunk from the party scene they shot earlier. This was Allie Meadows' first ever time acting in anything. And so I will say, taking that, I don't think she was that bad in the movie, but not great. But I gave her a break because it was her first time ever being on camera doing any kind of acting at all.
Which character was
she? Was Natalie, the blonde girl.
Okay.
Allie Meadows did her own stunt when it came to jumping off the cliff. She did her own stunt for that. The entire scene on the bridge between Jason and Casey was entirely improv.
Yeah, I mean, it felt that way, yeah.
Jason's death scene was a last-minute change. In the original script, it was supposed to be the girlfriend who was supposedly going to be tortured in a barn.
Jesus.
Yeah. The house they filmed at the very end in the post-credit sequence was Allie Meadows' real house. And during the filming of this scene where Hensley and the townie girls are drinking, Allie's father and his new girlfriend walked into the house right as Stephen Hensley is shouting out, "Local pussy, let's go upstairs and fuck." And Brandon Raker, who plays the cameraman at the end in the post-credits scene, is the only actor from the original Porkchop movie to appear in Pig Girl, and he played the British punk guy Ian in number 1.
Yes! I was going to ask about Ian. I was like, where's Ian? There he is!
Ian survived the first one, too.
That's fantastic.
And so did that one girl. We never saw them again, either. So, yeah. It's not Ian. He's not playing Ian, but it's the same guy.
I love it.
Yeah, so there's the other connection to Porkchop 1. So, with that said, that's all I got for trivia. Oh, no, I take it back. I have more trivia. I have more trivia because I'm in contact talking with Eamon Hardiman himself through emails, and we are actually trying to set up an interview. So we might get some of these questions answered. We'll get down and dirty if we can get it set up, if we can get the schedules to work out.
Did he get raped by Pig Girl or pissed on or suffocated with
We will have a follow-up interview to answer all questions of all things Porkchop, the series, so hopefully coming up. So here's what the email, I'm going to read it, the entire email, just because he took the time to write it. I'm going to take the time to read it. So according to Eamon, we lost almost our entire cast a couple days before filming. The part that I played in the movie was supposed to be a girlfriend that the parents did not approve of, so I had to rewrite the entire script from scratch in 2 days and then make the movie. Camp Wood is a real abandoned camp, and the cabins are full of creepy phrases written on the walls and little Satanist shrines, which we did cover in the first one. Our Porkchop, that was a real campsite. The shoot was probably the worst experience we've had making a movie. We had planned to make an entirely different film, so even with the new script, we kept running into situations where we had to improvise. We also had a short amount of time to shoot the movie. I believe it was 5 days. I might be wrong. So 5 days to make this movie. The male actor stayed in a farmhouse with no running water, and we had to walk across a field to a water reservoir to fill buckets to pour into the toilet every time we wanted to use the shitter. This gets old when everyone has Little Caesar's diarrhea. And the women stayed in a beautiful home with running water and central air. May they burn in hell. That's directly from Eamon Hardiman himself. So I thank you, Eamon, for that. If you ever get a chance to listen, I appreciate it. With that,
I have my little piece of
trivia.
trivia.
You have some too. Aaron has something.
Teeny tiny little piece of trivia.
Oh, look at this.
So after they roll the credits and they have that scene where Pig Girl comes back and kills Casey and his family in their home.
Yeah.
There's a song that's playing. That song is Sandy by Dion and the Belmonts. Dion and the Belmonts, oh God, what are they famous for? Trying to remember. I Wonder Why. Why, she ran away.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So there's a little something.
Well, now, Aries, we didn't get this last time. I don't know if we got it last time before either, but we get to play the budget game.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
They spent how much? The budget game.
Alrighty. So, yeah, budget game. What is the budget for Pig Girl?
I am not being fooled this time.
You're not being fooled.
This movie was really low budget. Like, lower budget, felt lower budget than original Porkchop.
Ooh.
We know Porkchop was $3,500. So I'm going to say this was $3,000.
$3,000. Well, Aaron, you are wrong. You blew your wad, but not by much because it's such a low budget. This is by far takes the cake, the record for lowest budget ever for a movie we've done.
$12?
$1,500.
Oh my God. How could you? I can't get any lower.
I know. $1,500 to make this movie. I mean, I respect. I gotta give them props for that. I mean, maybe this time they have their own equipment now. They're not renting. They're buying. Who knows? They're using a lot of the same actors, which have got to be friends. They're probably not getting paid. They're just doing it out of love and passion for the project. But
that's probably why they had a lot of people quit on them.
And I also think this is why the special effects and the kills were so slack this one, because they didn't have the budget. But god damn, to make a full length motion picture on $1,500 is insane. That's insane.
It is pretty crazy. I mean, that's some straight up Robert Rodriguez guerrilla film stuff.
I mean,
like,
that's
beyond.
So I'm just like, you know what? Good on you guys.
Less than $3,000, $1,500.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah. So I mean, like I said, good on you guys. Congratulations on that alone. Let's move on to 5-star reviews.
Is this your guilty pleasure? 5-star reviews.
Now, like I said, on Amazon, every review, everything with 5-star rating. There were 6 total reviews in total for this movie. All 6 were 5 stars. Of those 6, 3 of them left a written review. So we have 3. From Timothy A. Mace. Razor Sharp Studios is the best. Great movie, great price, great seller. A+++. Whatever. Yeah. Okay. And from Spooks, simply writes, great film. 5 stars.
All right, we're getting kind of weak in these reviews.
This is all we got. This is all I
got.
Yeah. Last one from Randall Merriweather. Pig Girl. Okay, this is title. Pig Girl might actually be better than the 3 Porkchop movies it follows. Review states, didn't expect much from this one, but from the cinematography to the vastly improved sound, I don't know about that. Pig Girl might actually be better than the Porkchop movies it follows. Didn't expect the longest post-credit sequence in movie history, that's for sure. Don't turn it off at the end of the credits. There's like another 20 minutes. That's crazy! These people are insane, and I can't wait to see what they do next. Highly recommended. 5 stars. That's it. I would go read 1-star reviews, but there were none.
Because everyone loves it.
It's the best movie in history, apparently.
Ay caramba.
I don't know why I did I don't know where that came from.
I've been saying Ay caramba a lot. I think it's homage.
Are you watching a lot of Simpsons or something?
I have been. It's an homage to Bart.
All right. Let's wrap it up. Like, what do we got, Aaron? Final thoughts here, buddy.
All right. So I kind of have a love-hate relationship with the Porkchop series. I've always just like, man, these movies are bad. But there's something about them that's just charming enough that puts me over the fence. They're so bad, they're good. You know, I could watch them again. I really could. But this one, no. I'm going to have to say so bad it's scary.
Oh, wow.
It's so bad it's scary because it feels like it deviates from what brought the charming kind of fun of Porkchop. I mean, even from number one, you have Elron, the robot bopping around. You have crazy kills like throwing lawn darts from out of nowhere, kind of silly kills.
And girl gets fucked to death with a chainsaw.
Girl gets fucked with a chainsaw. Ian kind of does that weird kind of like dialogue with Porkchop at the end before he gets killed. Number two has a lot of wackiness in it too. Number three is full of it. And
just kill after kill after kill.
And then we kind of deviate from that with Pig Girl. If they're trying to go in a different direction, okay. But with all the problems that they had, apparently, they had to make so much on the fly, maybe it should have just taken a break and kind of go back to the drawing board. It felt rushed. It felt poorly done. It just, I know what they can do. I've seen what they can do, and I like what they've done. This did not live up to the standards. So I'm going to say so bad it's scary.
All right. I mirror a lot of your sentiments there. I agree with you a lot of your points. I don't know if they were trying to go for a different feel with this one. And
no Burt Fleming.
Yeah, exactly. And like you said, even from everybody, yeah, they had to rewrite the script and basically rewrite the movie on the fly as they're filming it. So that's gonna throw things off a bit. But you're right. Like, I kind of agree with you. I think all the other movies, I watched all these movies multiple times. Right, that's because I kind of have to. But even though there were some great dialogue exchange moments between Casey and Jason that I really thoroughly enjoyed. Overall, I can't go with you. It's so bad, it's scary because again, there's so much continuity errors and just disconnect from the previous three movies. Like,
yeah,
it's supposed to be a spinoff. I get it, but it doesn't still fully connect properly. Like, it's missing stuff. Like, again, where's Burt fucking Fleming? Like, he's your cornerstone of like every, not just this series, but every movie this guy fucking makes has Burt Fleming in it. Like, where? And then yeah, it's like, I don't know. I'm kind of a lost for words. I was disappointed. I was hoping it'd be kind of more fun like the previous ones, where yeah, they're bad, but they're at least bad in a fun way. And I do still highly respect what they did for such a low amount of money. I will not take that away from them. That's incredible. But I just think this one comes up way short in comparison to the other ones. So I hate to say it, but I'm gonna say so bad it's scary as well for this one.
Yeah, I mean, watch Porkchop through 3, 1 through 3. Go ahead and watch them, enjoy them. They're fun indie horror movies, but this one, keep on the shelf.
Yeah, I mean, they all have some kind of unique kills in them too. Except like this one, they just kind of, again, I'm going to chalk up to the budgetary issues, but still, it's just like not much there to work with. All right, so
you sound sad that you're saying
I
it's
am
scary.
sad. I'm sad because I really I was hoping we'd finish out. I mean, this is the first time we did an entire series.
Yeah.
And I was hoping we'd finish strong. Like, just go out with a bang. And it's, again, we went out like a whimper with this one. It's just not, it's kind of,
Yeah.
So I'm disappointed.
I mean, Porkchop 3D was kind of like the icing on the cake.
Yeah.
You know, like, so.
Kills through the roof. It's just ridiculous enough in the best ways. Yeah. And we'll go up to Porkchop 3D and stop.
The barbecue on the pork steak.
Yeah. All right. So, Aaron, tell the nice folks where they can find us.
Well, they can always find us at our website, horriblehorrorpodcast.com. Again, that's horriblehorrorpodcast.com. You can listen to us on iTunes, Google Play, Podbean, and also from our website, horriblehorrorpodcast.com. And of course, we're on social media. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, and we're also on Twitter at So Bad It's Scary. That's the only one that doesn't have horrible horror. So again, Twitter at So Bad It's Scary. Listen to us, let us know how we're doing. If we're sucking, if we're rocking, if we're rolling, if we're bowling. I don't know, but.
All right.
But, real quick, I do want to give a quick little shout out. On Friday night, I went out and had some drinks, and I happened to run into a group of guys who were asking about my shirt. I was wearing a Bloody Bloody Bible Camp shirt. And they're like, oh, it's a cool shirt, man. What do you go? You like horror movies? I'm like, yeah, I do this podcast. And I told them about it. And apparently they do a podcast also. It's called Ghost Party Podcast. Some guys from on the ill side of the river in Collinsville, Illinois. They seem like nice guys. Looks like they're just starting off. So, good luck, guys. Maybe we'll talk a little bit down the road. But just want to give them a little shout out.
All right. You heard it here. All right, that's going to do it for us for this week. We'll be back in 2 weeks because we're taking, like I said, summertime. We're doing every other week for now. So we'll be back in 2 weeks with another horrible horror movie. In the meantime, guys, watch more horror movies and remember to always keep it tight.